folks, and welcome back to the channel. Hope you are all good. You are staying fabulous and staying rubber side down. Well, you join me today for stage 2 of the Sisu Pinkki Tour. After last week's long and fast race, we are going straight into a purely climbing race today for Radio Rendezvous. As you can see on the screen, we are currently sat waiting to start just at the bottom of the grade on the coast, and we are about to ride basically along the coast, and then we are going to climb the over the Stoneway Sprint. Then we tackle the Mayan Mountainside KOM, finishing with the Itza KOM, descending down the grade, and then racing back up the grade and along the top of Epic KOM towards Radio Tower and finishing right on the top. This is going to be a tough one. This is one for the climbers. So today, bike-wise, I have gone with the Specialized Athos as being one of the lightest bikes in the game. For wheels, I went the Princeton Wake 6560s using Zwifter bikes. This basically came out as the best option that I could afford. The Specialized Tarmac SL8 did come out top, but I didn't quite have the drops to purchase that, so we've gone with the Athos. Also, I've got a couple of other good all-rounder bikes, whereas I didn't really have a lightweight climbing bike, so I thought this would really fit in quite nicely with my collection. So here we are, we've started, and we're just rolling around the coast now to the start of the climb. So for this race, I did choose a time slot that didn't actually have a hell of a lot of other riders in it. So yeah, only racing against 25. It was a bit of an odd time slot. In retrospect, it would have probably been better to choose one or another time slot that had more riders. Obviously, the more riders, the bigger the pack, the faster the pace. And with this, basically, it ended up being a bit of a slow race. And given that this is a 7th stage and I'm competing for the GC, which is the overall time, it makes sense to try and get the fastest time possible for every race, even if there's different time slots. So we're now into the Mayan Mountainside KOM. You can see on the screen I've pretty much pulled away from a lot of the other riders. One A-grade rider in front of me. So I'm trying to kind of push the pace along, but not really getting the support from some of the other riders, which again, to the detriment of trying to keep up for a nice pace against some of the other category B riders in some of the other time slots. So I think at this point I decided, you know what, I need to save the legs a little, wait and just fall back into the group behind me and see if I can find some others to work with me. So I slotted back here, and you can see I've got a few here, and now I'm going to see if I can push these guys to see if we can push on and put up a good pace. Given that we're only a 7k into the ride so far. So continuing to work with this little pack of about 8 riders, it does eventually filter down to, I think, around about 5 or 6 as we get towards the top. Mix of A and B riders, which is really healthy to see. And yeah, we come across the top of the KOM. Oh, 3rd fastest on the KOM. I'll take that. Anyway, and now we push on to the straight into the Itza KOM. Got to admit, Mayan Mountainside and Itza KOM are 2 of my favorite climbs. I have always done pretty well on this. I always seem to do pretty well on those climbs that are long and steady around about the sort of 4 to 5% gradient. Whereas with my weight, I tend to struggle on the higher percentage gradients. So continuing to push on. Got a couple. Oh, here we are. We got 4. Oh, sorry, there's a pack of 4 of us. 3 others with me. Trying to work together. The person in front of us in second CS, probably a little too far away from us and putting down some really good power. So probably just gonna try and keep the pressure on and keep chasing just with this little pack and see how we go. Coming up to the top now, just over that final last climb to the little descent down to the banner. And we're all looking pretty good. Now we go into the, well, we have a small little descent down to the midway of the grade. Really hoping for a good power up here. And I will absolutely take a draft assist. So coming up to the, very close now, coming up to the midway section of the grade. And you can see me, I'm actually just typing away, trying to just tell the other guys just to keep the power on and slingshot past each other on the descent. Just to keep the speed up. It was a bit of a struggle to, I guess, keep the pressure on and keep the pace up. Luckily, this person comes flying past me with an anvil, so time for me to put the power on and just get into the draft and use that drafting boost. And then power off into the tuck, and I slingshot past up to 91 kilometers an hour. I will absolutely take that, and that actually builds up a nice healthy little lead on some of the others, just coming down to the bottom. And big shout out to M. Monterusso, who put in a huge effort to climb back up onto our little group, who had previously dropped off. Had to give them a little shout out there. And now into the grade. This is by no means an easy climb. It is just repetitive and steep and mentally very challenging. But leading the pack into the bottom of the climb now as the gradient starts to climb up towards that sort of 10%. And yeah, here we go now. Just speeding it up a little bit. And this is where I start to climb away from some of the others. So just putting a couple of seconds now on the people behind me. Just putting out that sort of, trying to stick to that FTP effort of around about 320 watts. Just keeping it up. Get into the midway section again and keeping the power on this little downhill section, and then again into the switchbacks. All by myself now. I've got sort of 10-second gap over person behind me and around about 40 seconds behind person in second. So really, realistically, not gonna be chasing or challenging for second position at this point. But very happy with my placing at the moment. What it does mean is I guess I get to sit at my own pace and I'm not really being pushed, which is nice in some way, but when you're competing for the GC and you really want to get a good time overall and you're competing against other riders in other time slots where they are in a pack and everyone's pushing each other and pushing harder, not really ideal, but still setting a good tempo here and a good pace, just at that solid sort of 320-ish watts, and just reaching the top here now. Very, very happy with my effort so far. 282 watts for the grade. I will take that. which is really not quite, at the time, wasn't quite far off my FTP. So on to the slight climb now, which is the top of Epic KOM. It's a bit lumpy, but trying to keep the power on the downhill sections as well as the climbs. Gotta love the graphics here. I do love doing the Epic KOM just for the fact that you get to, it is a computer generated, but to me it looks very pretty. It is very nice, sort of riding along the sort of snow-capped mountains and seeing, yeah, all the beautiful scenery. Definitely helps on high graphics setting as well, because you do get all the additional items like the trees, etc. And just coming up to the banner now for the top of Epic KOM. Again, it's just putting down that really steady, constant power of about 320 watts. And just see the radio tower in the distance. That is where we are heading for. So I'm going to take a left here and drop down into the dreaded radio tower climb. This is 1.2 kilometers with an average gradient of nearly 13%. This was a big one. So a little descent to start with, and then yeah, just got to dig deep here. Now I'm at this point very conscious of my time. So I thought, you know what, I'll just try and put in a good, solid, steady effort for the first section, and then I'm going to go all out on the last, maybe about 500 meters. So yeah, here we're coming up to it now. This is where I start putting the hammer down. So building it up, yeah, 360 watts. I'm really pushing hard here, just to clamber back every possible second I can to put in a decent time. Very happy with third overall against some strong B riders and A riders. Feeling pretty confident at this point. There we go. Yeah, last little push. Come on, come on, come on. And over the top. And through the banner. And there we go. Confirmation. First in Cat B for this race. Very happy with where I am. And that puts me top of the GC for Category B. So very happy with that effort. So leading into race stage 3 even, which we will be going to Watts of the Wild, which is a raw, power-driven stage that favors the brave and the bold. So we will be back on Saturday for that one. And I will see you then. Until then, stay rubber side down and have a fabulous week. Cheers.